Sitting here with Joe Jansen from Smoke and Transport, and as an ex-trucker myself, I keep my tabs on with my friends in the business. So, what's going on in the business right now, Joe?
Well, with this mandate going on, we feel like we need to make a stand here in Manitoba.
Which is the mandate? The one that goes north or south?
South. So for the borders, for truckers in general, for healthcare workers, for anyone that's affected by this mandate.
Mm-hmm. And that mandate is that drivers to go south must be vaccinated, but that's a U.S. border control issue. But the one coming north is a Canadian border issue, and that's where it gets even more rough, as I understand it. Those mandates and conditions are worse than going south.
Yeah. I had an owner of a trucking company. He's out on a trip, and he was concerned actually about coming back after the 15th on what exactly is going to happen when he does come back after the 15th.
Mm-hmm.
So he's trying to round up trucks to pile the trucks into the border, right?
Right. So a lot of people are aware, and for you listening, there is a crisis. It could be catastrophic in terms of getting fresh produce and the staple items of life. Now, we can probably delay delivery on things like combines and tractors. Yeah. We're not in that season right now in Canada as a whole, but the impending crisis of being able to supply the food chain in Canada is a paramount concern, is it not?
Yes, it is. If the drivers can't cross the border, they can't bring the produce and the food into Canada.
Now, you say can't cross, but they actually can. It's the conditions under which they're being asked to do it, right? Just to put a finer point on it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, and so I talk to transport owners as I keep my hand in this, just watching it now as an ex-driver. Right. There is a real concern that there will be massive quitting. There were 20, 30%. The latest report I heard on CTV was some 16,000 drivers. That's a conservative estimate, folks. 16,000 drivers are going to quit. I can't even get my head around the impact that's going to be in supply in Canada.
Yeah, in grocery stores and even bringing in supplies for houses or anything of the sort, right? We
all know forever that anything that arrives, anything you consume, anything you purchase, anything you use gets delivered by a truck.
That's right.
And to me, I'm thinking we have taken for granted far too long what truckers actually do. They are the lifeline to an economy. And if you go into it and look at it, the billions and billions of dollars that the trucking industry represents, and to have 16 or 20 or 25,000 drivers short in an industry that already is, 5,000, 10,000 drivers short, those numbers go all over the place.
Yep. Now it's just added.
So you're an owner of the transport company. What are your drivers saying to you right now as far as the mandate and the requirement to be jabbed?
Well, we run 8 trucks, and 4 out of the 8 got it. There was 3 of them that just decided that they're going to do it. They didn't want to do it, but it's their livelihood.
Did they felt pressure to do it?
Pressured to do it.
Based on the fact that, as a friend of mine said who's still driving, I either choose to exercise my right to choose my health care or I go bankrupt.
Yep.
And with a young family, he literally has put his life on the line for his family.
Right.
So what's in the works? Yeah, I mean, you're talking to a lot of drivers, and this thing is not just you and your company, it's bigger than that. What are you guys thinking of doing? What's the gist of how you're going to raise awareness for this?
Well, I've made numerous phone calls in the last 2 days to get a hold of multiple different trucking companies. There's well over 10 that are on board, and we're on the 23rd and 24th, we're collecting the trucks, all bobtail, in Morris, and we're going to be heading to Winnipeg, and we're going to make a difference.
So this is going to be a visible sign of solidarity amongst drivers to showcase the crisis to the average consumer.
Right.
Why are these trucks here? Because they know that they're facing a doomsday.
Right.
And that doomsday is going to have a ripple effect to every person who buys anything at a store.
Right. And not just Manitoba, all of Canada. Ontario through BC. We're all doing the same.
So this is
thing.
across the country. You guys are planning to do this.
Yes.
Potentially, in talking to people, how many drivers do you think are going to participate?
It's going to be in the thousands.
Really?
I think it will be.
All across the country. So this should be captured by the media.
Yes.
This should raise awareness. Whose attention are you trying to get by this? Because one thing we know in these protests, and I drove a rig, and I know how big they are, and if we're just bobtail, we're still big.
Yeah.
There's going to be backlash, outcry. The people that don't get it and don't care about it.
Right.
They resent this kind of stuff.
Right.
But whose attention are you trying to get?
Parliament, the people that are making the rules. That's who we're trying to catch attention to. And when we do, which we will, we're going to hopefully win and get rid of this whole thing.
Okay, so in leading up to this, without saying too much, but saying enough, who have you talked to and what's been the support? Like, who have you talked to on an official level? We can leave names out because we don't want to, involve anybody, but who have you talked to support this? When you think about doing something like this, you've probably had a conversation with some official kind of people.
Well, bigger trucking companies, they're on board. I don't know. Should I name any names?
I don't think name any names, but you've talked to some political entities,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Even the Conservative Party. In Morden, the office, I went in there.
That would be the federal, or did you go to the provincial?
Provincial.
Provincial.
Candace
that would be okay. Yeah. Candace would be federal.
Oh, federal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But you have contact with somebody in a political office.
Right.
What was their response to the ID?
They were absolutely supportive.
Okay.
100% on it.
Okay.
Well, they just anything they said, if they could do anything, they're there to help and support. I've also talked to even a restaurant in Winnipeg.
Yeah, we both know the owners of that restaurant. Yeah, in terms of the outcry and support is there.
Yeah.
And I think people in general are supportive of the truckers because. Like, we're doing this here in Winkler, and Winkler is a hub of transportation.
Right.
There are a lot of people that derive an income from the transportation industry here. So you're going to resonate here, but the potential to get a backlash will probably come out of the more out of the city areas.
Right.
Where people maybe aren't mindful of what truckers do.
No. They're probably not mostly aware or educated on what truckers bring or do. But maybe this can open people's eyes, and they can actually maybe start to understand a little bit more on what truckers actually do.
Yeah. So you're trying to get the attention of the decision makers, right. Those who have authority over us. You're trying to raise awareness in the minds of consumers and in the eyes of what they're going to see. They're going to see a lot of trucks there. Right. That's not a normal day.
Right.
And you're going there with that in mind. And no particular schedule of how long you'll be there, but the thinking is until when?
Well, as long as we can get attention from the politicians,
some kind of response from them.
Maybe a day, 2, maybe 3.
Yeah.
We'll see, but sometimes it doesn't take long in mass groups.
Yeah.
Right. And
exactly.
Especially happening across Canada all at the same time.
It strikes me as a last-ditch desperate effort to try to stave off unemployment, to stave off the thousands of truckers that will just simply walk away.
Right. It's their livelihood. They do it for their families. They do it for just bringing an income in. They enjoy what they do, but it's getting to the point where you ask yourself, why do I do this? Because it seems like it's just, there's more rules, more regulations, more costs, the fuel, the carbon tax, e-logs,
Yes.
and it just doesn't stop.
Yeah, it all resonates with me, Joe,
Right.
because I just walked away from it in August.
Yeah.
And it was because, again, I'm being asked to do more for less
Right.
and having to pay the same bills that are going up. So you've got expenses going this way and revenue this way. Now, that in itself is hard to survive,
Yeah.
but you add unnecessary overreach of government and put into that a crisis of a healthcare choice, which is
Right.
what it's coming down to.
Right.
Now you've got a recipe for guys to actually be so desperate as to just walk away.
Right. You know, we want to make that change so people don't have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to walk away from something they enjoy doing.
Yeah.
Even comes down to enjoying a truck show with their family,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of pride in truckers.
It is.
You see the rigs.
Yeah.
I used to see them because I traveled extensively. There was nothing less than 1,000 miles on average, you know, and you see a lot of rigs and you see pride, you see ownership,
Yeah.
you see career-long truckers.
Right.
And the other impact, and we haven't talked about this, is the impact of American truckers who will not come to Canada.
Yeah.
That is another significant factor. Now we know that the bulk of freight goes south, but there's a lot of Canadian trucks that bring it, but there are a lot of American trucks, and America can exist on its own with the sheer population and the business there.
Right.
But you and I both know, and my friends have told me, there's not enough business to keep all the Canadian truckers trucking in Canada.
No, there isn't. There is not. Unless you have a really good customer base, which, I mean, we do, but not everyone does. So,
But the equipment you're hauling isn't typically built here.
no, it's not.
Right.
No.
The manufacturing is in the States.
Right.
Someone's got to go get it. That's what you do.
Well, that's exactly it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we do go U.S. side, and it's affecting. When COVID started, the industry was so bad that to try to find freight, we had to do it for half the dollar
Mm-hmm.
to try to find freight.
We face that in the reefer industry as well.
Right.
You desperately went down there on loads that carried the fuel.
Yeah.
And the amount of revenue left over, you could be working part-time at a gas bar.
Yeah.
But you got the freight coming back
Yeah.
that paid it.
Right. Well, you know, even that.
Even that, I know.
Even that.
That's a generous statement I just made, because it started to dwindle too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're going to stage this rally. It's starting on
The 23rd.
is when you're going to collect trucks.
Right. Collect trucks in Morris on the 24th at 9 a.m. And we're talking. Bring your vehicles, bring your friends, your family.
So you're asking people, families of truckers, anybody who supports trucking.
Anybody, or even healthcare workers.
We're all.
It all
This is what
affects
we
everything.
are actually all
Yeah.
in this together,
Right.
in this calamity that's
Right.
been perpetrated on us.
Right. So
Okay.
come join us. We're gonna leave 9 a.m. Monday, and we're heading for Winnipeg. Anyone that is in Winnipeg can meet us at 10:30 on the perimeter highway of 75 in the perimeter, and you'll see us.
You'll
coming.
see that. You'll see all the rigs there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So park on the westbound lanes on the shoulder,
Mhm.
and we'll just come and take that loop.
Yeah.
And
And so it's kind of follow the leader, because an exact location of where you're going to stage this protest is yet to be determined.
yes.
Okay. What about a message to the people of Winnipeg, those who might not get it and just simply see this as a bunch of crybaby truckers staging a protest and be annoyed by it? Because we know that's a reality, right, Joe? What do you say to those people?
Well, you need to realize that us truckers, everything in your house, the chair you're sitting on, the food you eat,
Yes.
it doesn't matter. A truck brought it. Anything, your car, even the carpet you stand on, it doesn't matter. We brought it to your house, one way or the other. And it'll come from down in Florida, down in Texas.
Overseas still has to be
overseas.
transported
Yeah,
from the terminals.
absolutely. So they need to understand that we are the ones that are feeding everyone in this world, and it doesn't matter who you are, but we've had enough.
You know, and as I search through my mind, it's easy to remember that you're not the first group to do such a desperate thing. Farmers did it one time.
Yeah.
With their combines, showing up at legislature buildings all over, protesting this. Is it safe to say the majority of truckers would rather be trucking than doing a protest? That's without question, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
so this really becomes a last-ditch effort to raise the awareness. It is as serious and more than what you're hearing.
Yeah, this is the last straw right now.
Yeah, because we're up against it. We are 2 days away from the Canadians implementing very stringent crossing rules.
Right.
The tickets, I'm told, are significant.
Yeah.
I'm hearing stories of $5,800.
Yep.
For non-compliance of some kind or another.
Yep. And now we have to download an app to cross the border.
The Arrive Canada app, the one that we used to use to come back from the States from wintering in wherever the warm climates were.
Right.
But when I first heard of that, I thought that's got to be a mistake. Because that only has been, like, I came back last winter, I had to do it, it's no problem. Yeah, the PCR. But here's a question, are the drivers going to be required to do those negative PCR tests? Is that part of it too? Or is that coming, do you know?
I haven't heard.
Yeah, because it's in the news. Trudeau's ordered an awful lot of PCR tests. Where are those going?
Yeah.
We don't know. But to say it, to put a finer point on it, it's just not workable any longer, is it?
No, it's not. We're done with just being pushed around. And when COVID started, we were essential workers. We could cross the border. We were superheroes, right?
You and I were probably both, although we didn't know each other, we're laughing at it.
Yeah.
Because we're just truckers.
Yeah.
That's all we were. I laughed at it when, tell the truckers how much you love them. I saw the billboards and everything.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing that happened to the healthcare workers. They were essential. See, that's the problem, in my opinion. When we go to the word essential, we have to exclude people.
Right.
Because if I'm essential, you might be non-essential. You see, everybody's essential in an economy and in a country and in a community, right?
Right.
The guy that pumps your gas, the guy that brings your newspapers to your door, the guy that takes your garbage away.
Right.
But it's funny, we elevated these people and now we're prepared to just dismiss them. We don't care if you lose your license to practice as a nurse or a doctor, or lose your rig because you won't comply. Right.
And now we're just that's what we are. That's all. Yeah. We're scum.
Well, I'll tell you, I hate to think of it in that terms, but it feels like you're just dispensable.
That's
throwaway.
Yep.
I know. My heart goes out to you because it's not that long ago I was doing the same thing, my friend.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough to get out and just park the one piece of the equipment left and sell the other. But the guys that are into a 5-year plan, they can't do that.
No. My
friend has his house on the line. His truck goes, he goes, his house goes, his family goes.
Yeah. It's the same thing as someone going out and buying a brand new Chevy pickup. You think you can get out of it after a year?
Mm-mm.
No.
No.
You can't.
And that would be a non-essential purchase in the sense of having transportation. but there are conditions, and a lot of people don't know this, that some companies demand equipment be maintained within so many years of age.
Right.
And I work for a guy like that. And if you want to come on board, your truck had to be within 5 years of current model year.
Yep.
That's not even cheap to buy.
For me, I encourage older is better.
Yeah, you have that right to do it as the owner. I know. But a new tractor alone today, $220,000 easy.
Yeah, absolutely.
$250,000
Yep.
to earn a living. Yep. I know. Well, you know what, Joe? I'm glad to do this with you. You have my full support, and I hope the support of thousands of people that will see this video.
Yeah.
Because you're doing it because you feel you have to, not because you want to.
That's right.
And just to raise awareness and try to push something to a decision. Yeah. Try to get something to break in your favor. Because everything has been against you right now.
Right.
Well, so that's the date. It's happening on the 24th. It's happening in Winnipeg and all over the country.
Right. That's
excellent.
Exactly. Yep.
I wish you well, my friend. Thank you very much.